mobilized to then change public policy. And that, to me, is where we have untapped power. Untapped power. Final comment with each panelist. Whoever wants to start first, go ahead.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out. This is a very important election, as we know, and I think we can end by saying, yes, we have that untapped power, and let's make sure that we continue to tap it and get it, and we start on November the 8th. That's going to be the key. Thank you.
Great election coming up, tight race. Encourage everybody to go out and vote. Make sure you take someone that you know that need a ride. Encourage them. Most of all, stick together, and let's do the push. Let's mobilize after the election and do what we got to do.
I say that we can and we will, but we must work. Stop waiting for things to happen anyhow or somehow. Make it happen.
I say to all, know your history. We've been a resilient people. And the only way that we can do what we need to do is not by just talking, but having the same conversations he's talking about in these community organizations. What are you doing? Where's the money being spent? Are we getting the same resources that they're getting across town? Or are we getting the back end across the railroad track, and y'all do all right? We've got to speak out, and you're right. We've got to organize, but we got to be about business too. We got to be about the business of doing something, taking the name, the address, and everything, and knowing how to get in touch with folks. That's what we got to do. Until we do that, we're going to be whistling Dixie. And that's all that's been going on here lately. You know, I know you had to agree with it. The former president, what did he do? He appealed to the worst, innermost feeling of folks that are white against those folks of color. And that's the reason we see these guys now bidding for him. They talking about him, not if you go to jail, we're going to ride. He need to be locked up. The court out in California said, you signed this document. Eastman, I want the emails between you and Trump. No client, lawyer privileges. He signed it and knew full well that he signed the lie. So I think he's going to be indicted.
My final comment is this is very simple. And that is for every person who says we need this, and who doesn't do anything to get this, all you're doing is wasting your breath. I do not listen to people who do not act. If there's somebody to me who comes to me complaining and they then tell me I don't vote, I won't listen to anything else they have to say. If you are a mother or a father or a grandmother and grandfather, and there is somebody who is living in your house who is opting not to vote, you should say you cannot live at this house. I'm just being straight up. If you paying the rent or the mortgage, you set the rules. That's just how I operate. We ain't even debating this. And then if you got family members and y'all having Sunday dinner and they say, I don't vote, you can tell them you cannot, no, not don't eat, you can't come to my house. Now see, it's a zero tolerance. I can guarantee you they're going to have an attitude because you said you can't come here and get a plate. But we have to be that serious because there is somebody else in this city not looking like us who's voting, who's showing up. I read the story last night. They were talking about how right now in Texas, my home state, where I'm still registered to vote, white voters are in the minority in Texas. Latinos, African Americans, and Asians outnumber white voters in Texas. Yet white voters account for 60% of all ballots cast. That's because black voters, Latino voters, and Asian voters are not maximizing our numbers. And so if you look at voting in Georgia, I can guarantee you, if you go pull the research, I can guarantee you that black voters in this city are not voting at 75% of their numbers. I can guarantee you they're not voting at 75% of their numbers in the county, and you're not voting at 75% in the state, because if black voters were voting at 70 and 75%, the numbers, the sister doesn't lose by 3 points to be the commissioner. Stacey Abrams doesn't lose by 30,000 votes. Andrew Gillum doesn't lose by 30,000 votes in Florida. Sherry Beasley, running for Supreme Court in North Carolina in 2020, doesn't lose by 400 votes. And so the reality is, if we're complaining that somebody lost, if you look at our numbers, and our numbers are not 70, 75, we can't blame nobody on that except us. And that's how we have to challenge one another on this very issue. Let me thank our panel for being here. Let me thank Commissioner Al for organizing this. Let me thank the Warnock campaign for also inviting me back into the state. Folks, don't forget, early voting is happening right now in Georgia. It started in Texas on yesterday. Check your local state, your local laws, folks, to understand how early voting happens in your location. There's some places that only have one early voting location, so check the requirements. Please do so. And again, don't just focus on yourself. Call someone else. Call 5 people, 10 people. Offer them rides. Do whatever you can, because, again, all the issues matter, and we are impacted by all of these issues on the local, state, and national level as well. I'll be back in Washington, D.C. tomorrow in studio. Don't forget, Thursday I'll be in Baltimore with Jamel Hill for a Q&A for her new book. We'll be talking about that as well. And so, folks, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Always a good time being here in Swainsboro. I'll see you tomorrow on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, download our app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. If you want to support our show, please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at all bookstores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Books A Million. Also, you can download on Audible, order through your favorite black bookstore. I did bring some copies, so we have some here to sign as well if you want to get a book. So, folks, do that. I'll see you tomorrow. Holla!